On December 7, 1958, Kenneth and Barbara Martin left their home in northeast Portland with their 3 daughters. Barbara was 14, Virginia was 13, and Susan was 11. Their oldest child, Donald, was not with them. He was in New York, serving in the Navy. The Martins planned a short family trip into the Columbia River Gorge to gather greenery for Christmas decorations. It was a cold but ordinary Sunday, and no one expected the family would vanish that very day. By the next morning, their absence was clear. Kenneth did not arrive at work at Eccles Electric. Barbara was missing from her classes at Grant High School. Virginia and Susan were absent from Rose City School. That night, police entered the Martin home. What they found was chilling in its normality. Dishes had been washed and left out to dry. Laundry was mid-cycle. Nothing was missing, and nothing suggested the family had planned to leave for long. Their bank accounts were untouched. It was as if the Martins had simply disappeared into thin air. Witness reports gave a few hints about their last movements. Around 4 p.m. that Sunday, the Martins bought 5 gallons of gas in Cascade Locks. Later, a family matching their description was seen at a snack bar in Hood River. After that, all trace of them was gone. Their blue 1950s Ford station wagon was nowhere to be found. Soon, strange details began to appear. A stolen 1951 Chevrolet was discovered abandoned in Cascade Locks the same day the Martins vanished. Nearby, someone had tossed a .38 caliber handgun into the brush. The gun had dried blood on it. Records showed it had been sold at Meyer and Frank, the same store where Donald Martin had once been caught shoplifting. Investigators never tested the gun for fingerprints or blood evidence. If it was connected to the Martins' disappearance, the chance to prove it was lost forever. More clues came in. Tire tracks near the Dalles led off the road toward a steep cliff. Paint chips found nearby matched the make and model of the Martins' Ford. Some investigators believed the family's car had skidded and plunged into the Columbia River. Others wondered if the tracks suggested someone had forced them over the edge. Witnesses also reported seeing cars or families like the Martins far away, in Iowa, in Montana, even back near Portland. But none of these sightings were ever confirmed. Police searched the river with boats and planes. The Army Corps of Engineers even lowered the water level at Bonneville Dam by 5 feet to expose more of the riverbed. Nothing was found. But in May of 1959, the river finally gave up part of its secret. 2 bodies surfaced far downstream. They were Virginia and Susan, the youngest daughters. Both had drowned. Some believed a barge had snagged the hidden car and accidentally freed the girls' bodies. But their parents, their older sister, and the Ford remained lost. Theories divided investigators and the public. Many believed it was a tragic accident. The Columbia Gorge was known for dangerous curves, poor lighting, and sudden drop-offs. A family unfamiliar with the roads could easily have gone over by mistake. Others, including Sheriff's Deputy Walter Graven, believed it was murder. Graven pointed to the bloody gun, the stolen car, and the strange tire tracks as signs of foul play. The case refused to fade. It became one of Oregon's longest-standing mysteries, even inspiring a 2019 book, Echo of Distant Water, which examined the conflicting evidence. Decades later, in 2018, a man named Archer Mayo became obsessed with the case. Mayo was a diver, an artist, and a real estate manager. While looking at old photos in the Oregon Historical Society archives, he noticed something important. When the Cascade Locks Canal was built in the late 1800s, engineers had dug a massive pit into the riverbed. Even after the locks were flooded by the Bonneville Dam in 1938, that pit remained. Heavy objects, he realized, could have been pulled into it and trapped there for decades. Mayo spent years diving in the Columbia River, sometimes 60 feet below the surface. He cleared debris, operated a dredge, and carefully searched the pit. In late 2024, he finally found what he had been looking for: an upside-down 1950s Ford station wagon buried deep in silt and rubble. He informed the Hood River County Sheriff's Office, and in March 2025, a recovery operation was launched. But when contractors tried to lift the car, only the undercarriage and engine came out. The rest of the vehicle, including anything inside it, stayed stuck in the pit. Mayo was disappointed, but he didn't give up. That summer, he went back to the site. Using dredging equipment and a small workstation on the riverbed, he began carefully pulling debris from the car. The work was extremely dangerous. Broken seat springs cut into his suit. Old fishing nets tangled around him. At times, visibility dropped to zero. Still, he kept at it. One by one, he brought out artifacts. A man's leather shoe, a child's toy cap gun, a girl's nylon sock, a gas pedal, and 2 seatbelts. Then, on August 11, 2025, he found human remains inside a nylon stocking. In the days that followed, he recovered more, which he believed belonged to at least 2 adults. The most striking find was a weathered leather camera case. On the bottom, scratched into the leather, were words still visible after nearly 70 years. Ken Martin, 56th Ave, Portland, Ore. Mayo turned the remains over to the Hood River County Sheriff's Office. Officials would not confirm his discovery, saying only that the case remains under investigation. Until the remains are fully analyzed and identified by forensic experts, nothing can be said for certain. So the great question lingers. Was this a terrible accident, the result of a wrong turn on a winter night with the river swallowing a family whole? Or was it murder, as some investigators believed from the start? The evidence points in both directions. The car's location and the belongings found inside suggest an accident. The bodies of the girls, released months later, are consistent with a submerged car finally giving up its passengers. But the bloody gun, the stolen car, the strange tire tracks, and the unanswered questions leave room for darker possibilities. For 67 years, the Columbia River held this secret. Now, perhaps, it has finally begun to speak. The Martin story is closer to resolution than ever before. Yet even with new discoveries, one haunting mystery remains. On that cold December evening in 1958, did the Martins simply make a tragic mistake? Or did someone make them disappear?